It's very sad to me when I see young children at this young of age be indoctrinated and brainwashed by religion. And then they make something like this. Because they're ignorant. Because they don't know any better. That's what religion does. But before this video response continues, I would just like to say that last week I was in Philadelphia visiting family and I arrived home last night. That being said, I had a massive 4-hour delay of my flight. I got onto the airplane, then we just sat there because thunderstorms were bad, and then I found out that my laptop had died. I didn't charge it, and then I was very, very pissed off, and then I had a glass of scotch on the plane, and for the additional 4 hours I sat waiting for our plane to take off, listening to Game of Thrones. I just finished season 3 just last week, actually, and I figured I might as well start listening to the audiobooks of Game of Thrones because I heard the books were better than the actual TV show. But nonetheless, Audible.com is a website which offers thousands of audiobooks from Star Wars to Game of Thrones to 50 Shades of Grey, if that's your type of book you would like to listen to. And they have a massive wide selection of great things for you to listen to, including Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, one of my favorite all-time books. That being said, if you actually use my name upon registration of Audible.com, you will get a free audiobook worth about $10 to $15, depending on what audiobook that you want to buy, and you get it free upon sign up if you use my name, Mr. Repzion. As you can see right here, this is the logo. Go there if you want to get an audiobook. You can get a free one using my name. That being said, let's begin the video response.
Christianity is being completely frozen out of America.
Isn't Christianity being frozen out of America a good thing? Because let's be honest here, do we really want to revert back to times where a gay person would be automatically stoned for having sexual relations with someone of their own sex? I mean, do we really want to revert to the old Christian principles that the Bible teaches upon stoning and adultery and all of these things, which people were just automatically killed and stoned to death without question because it was against their religious beliefs or it was against God's law? I don't think so. So when you say that if Christianity is being frozen out of America, I think that's a very, very good thing.
Why can't I pray in school?
Why do I have to check my religion at the door?
Why can't I write about God in my school papers?
This is what I absolutely hate about religious people like yourselves. You present this whole victim mentality of oppression, that because I'm a Christian, I'm therefore automatically going to be oppressed, and you say things which are untruthful. For example, why am I not allowed to pray in school? Implying that you think somehow that you're not allowed to pray in school. And that is not only untruthful, but you are allowed to pray in school. And to refute your point, when I was attending Green River Community College, I attended a Christian group in which we prayed. It was actually a little bit awkward because when I went to the Christian group, I only went there because a girl asked me to come to the group. And I was actually struggling with Christianity at that time, and I was kind of just falling away from it. But when I went there, they assumed I was a believer and I was a strong Christian. They asked me to pray in front of the congregation of kids at my college. It was a Christian group, and in order to have a Christian group, it has to go through an application process with the college itself. And prayer was allowed, and they asked me to pray, and I was like, I don't really believe in that. And then they were like, oh my gosh, not really, but they were just shocked that I would actually publicly say I don't believe in prayer in front of a Christian group in a circle with a bunch of Christians. And then they said, Jason or whatever, can you pray for us? Because they called on me, and I was not about to pray in front of a bunch of people when I don't believe in that crap. My point is that you are allowed to pray in school. The difference is that you are not allowed to force prayer in school, in college. You're not allowed to force children to say things or believe in the Ten Commandments. You're not allowed to push and force any sort of religious type of idea or concept onto children. That's the difference. And quite frankly, to say that why aren't we allowed to pray in schools, implying that you are not allowed to pray in schools, just shows how untruthful you Christians can really be on trying to present the whole victim mentality, oh, I'm being oppressed, when you don't even present the proper facts on prayer within school. Oh, and one more thing. You can, in fact, write about God in school, Because I did it. My first essay paper for my first English class was in fact an 8-page paper designed on arguing for the existence of God, because at that time I was a deist. I believed in God, but I didn't believe in Christianity, but I wanted to make an argument for the existence of God, and therefore I used a really terrible argument known as the cosmological argument, which I'm going to refute in a later video in my videos on upcoming religion. But my point is, my whole paper, which I got an A+ on, was about God. So already within the first 30 seconds of the thaw, Christianity is being frozen out of America, you've already presented your intellectual dishonesty with presenting things which are false about school, about prayer, about God, about what you guys can and cannot do.
Why do I have to tolerate people cursing my God, but I am not allowed to talk about God and my faith?
You are allowed to talk about God and your faith. The difference is, and I'm going to go from personal experience again, is that having been a Christian, you as a believer, as a Christian, are commanded to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. You are commanded to go on the streets, knock on people's doors. Well, that's Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, but it's the same type of concept. You're supposed to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, and therefore you're technically supposed to go out of your way and try to get people to come to church and share Jesus with people and share your faith with people. But let me tell you something. Unless somebody asks you about why you believe what you believe or what do you believe, you should not go up to someone randomly and start to and talk to them about why they should become a Christian or why they're going to hell if they don't believe in God. Do not proselytize to people unless they ask you. That's my mindset. Because you are allowed to talk about God. You are allowed to go in your little Christian groups in college and talk about God all you want. But the moment you step out and you start trying to force or even share your faith with people who don't want to hear it, that's the problem. That's why you get people mad at you. That's why you get people calling you names, is because they don't want to hear your little whole spiel on, if you don't become a Christian, you're going to burn eternity in hell. No one wants to hear that.
Why are they taking God out of my history books?
Maybe they're taking God out of your history books is because he doesn't exist, and we are becoming a more understanding society in terms of, hey, this doesn't line up with science. This doesn't line up with facts. We cannot observe, test the idea of God. So therefore, why are we trying to talk about and prove to children something that doesn't exist? Or if it does exist, we have no verifiable evidence to prove that he does exist. That doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Why do they teach every other theory in science except creation?
Because creationism is not fact. Because creationism is unscientific. Because creationism teaches that God created the world and that the earth is 6,000 years old and that the Noah's Ark and the whole story of the big boat and putting animals on, all of these things happened. Okay? That's why it's not taught in school anymore, is because creationism is not built upon anything except supernatural biblical fictional stories in a Bible, which has really no historiography in terms of accuracy. I mean, yes, in terms of city locations and maybe a little bit of history, the Bible is not a historically accurate book in terms of the things it says and the things that it presents and talks about. So that's why creationism isn't taught, is because it's unscientific and there's nothing to support it. Everything in geology and the Earth displays that the Earth is millions and billions of years old, not 6,000 years old. We have an old Earth, not a young Earth. Science has proven this.
Why am I called names because I believe in marriage the way God designed it?
Because, number one, God didn't design marriage, we did. You can go in history. I don't need to go back in the 1400s and explain to you and many other Christian adults that marriage is a social contract. We created it. It's a contract between two people. It's a legal I can't even think of the word I'm trying to use right now. You know what I'm trying to say. It's a legal contract between two people. We created it. Look at the Roman Empire. Look at Greece. Look at all of the ancient history, and you will see that marriage was created by us. God did not create marriage, and God did not intend marriage to only be what he wanted it to be. Because your concept of marriage is coming from the Bible, which is not an accurate book, and you can't use the Bible to make arguments. That's one of the things. Even when I was a Christian, You can actually go back in my videos, and you can watch my videos when I was a devout Christian. I never used the Bible in my videos. Do you want to know why? Because even then, I knew that using the Bible to try to prove a point was stupid. If someone doesn't believe in the Bible, why would you then offer them a Bible verse in rebuttal of what they're trying to say when they do not believe it? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My point is that this and this are awesome. This and this, lightsaber and lightsaber, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with it. God, because he doesn't, well, exist, but even if he did exist, he didn't design marriage a certain way. We did.
Some even call us hateful.
Hypocrites.
Unloving.
Close-minded.
Bigots.
Of course they do, because you are all of those things. You're all of those things, so of course people are going to call you that when you try to tell people that what they have between their lover isn't real, that if I love a man, that I can't love a man and that love isn't real. I mean, that's, of course you're going to be unloving. You're intolerant of other people doing things that do not affect your lives. It still amazes me why religious people to this day try to fight against homosexuality or gay marriage and say that it affects them, but they offer nothing. What people do in their own bed and what they do between relationships does not affect your biblical marriage whatsoever. At all. And I stand by the belief that if someone is genuinely against gay marriage, if they're against people who love each other to have rights, then you are in fact a bigot. There's no running around that or trying to sugarcoat, oh, I'm not a bigot, but I believe these hateful things about people, and I don't want people to have equal rights. I don't want people to be able to express love to one another. That's what a bigot is. They're intolerant and hateful towards people who are different than them.
In public school, I'm called lesbian
Or gay.
for not kissing or for wanting to save myself for marriage.
In public school, dating is an obligation.
In public school, people are rude and disrespectful towards Christians.
Oh, was this statement just golden? Absolutely golden. In public school, people are mean and rude towards Christians. I'm so glad you said this because, if you've been a subscriber of mine for any amount of time, if you've watched my past videos on religion, you would know that I was, sadly, homeschooled. That being said, I grew up in a Christian home, and I went to a church in which I left at the age of 18 due to several things that happened. Not only was there gossip, but I was heavily bullied. I was called all sorts of names within church by other Christians. By other Christians. In fact, after I left religion completely, I have more friends who are more loving and caring that are atheists than I do Christians. Because all the Christians that I knew, for the most part, there's a few exceptions, I do still have a few Christian friends, but all of the Christians that knew me when I went to church are no longer my friend. Do you know why? Because they cut contact with me, because I no longer believe what they believe, and they feel the need to disassociate with someone who at one point tried to kill himself due to not only religious oppression within his own goddamn church. It's really ironic when I tell the story of my past and my experiences in church. It's all on my channel. You can go back in history and watch some of my older videos. I go into a lot of detail on what exactly happened of the things within my church. So please, when you say, oh, we're being treated mean and cruel in public school, I had that happen in church. In church. The place where it's supposed to be a place of love and acceptance, when in reality it was the exact opposite. So please, spare me the absolute bullshit.
Bullying is common. What we see in our health classes
Sex education.
4th grade and up.
Is pornography.
Pornography? Are you Oh my god. You know what? Let's examine this. Let's see if this is really pornography, because I have some books. Let's see. 1 second. Here we go. This is a college textbook. This is by Roger R. Hawk. Human sexuality. As you can see right here, human sexuality. I'm going to open this book, and I'm going to look for some so-called pornography in this book. Because, you know, supposedly you think educational books on sex and genitalia is automatically pornography. Chapter 4, lifestyle, contraption, surgical methods. Oh, female sterilization. Let's just take, for example, here. Let's look at this, okay? What you're about to see is the inside of a vagina. And quite frankly, that, as you can see right there, see that? That doesn't look like pornography. If you can look at this, and if you can get an orgasm, or if you can get, you know, some steam off of this, I don't know what to tell you, but you're really easily impressed. And by all means, this is nothing. Why am I even showing you? This is so stupid. This is not pornography. If that's what you call pornography, then we're doomed. Like, Christian ignorance is even beyond the scope of what I thought it was. If you can get off on that thing, that little diagram of a woman's vagina, that's not pornography. That's the female vagina. That's science. That's what a woman has. I don't know what else to say.
People make fun of me because I don't believe in abortion.
In public school, people believe Christians are goody goods and boring.
Dirty jokes fill the hallways between classes.
Dirty jokes fill the hallways. Naughty, naughty, naughty. You've been a very, very bad boy. You know, because, you know, you Christians, you're not allowed to have any fun in life. You're not allowed to laugh at anything that is immoral or has a little bit of, you know, sexuality to it, or a little bit of crude humor. But just to prove your point that, you know, dirty jokes fill the hallways, do you know who the biggest prostitute in history is? Do you? Miss Pac-Man. Yeah, that's right. For 25 cents, that bitch swallowed balls until she died. Was that too dirty? I think so.
During class, before school, at lunch, after school.
On the bus, off the bus. Get the idea? Despite modern popular belief, America was founded as a Christian nation.
No, 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 and no. This is probably the biggest delusional, untruthful statement I hear among Christians, is that America was founded on Christian principles and a Christian nation, and that they also try to argue that all of our presidents were Christians, and that's how our... Let me just start by saying, I want to give you a quote by John Adams, and he says, "The government of the United States is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion." Quote, by John Adams, one of our presidents. And for those of you kids who don't know this, almost all of our founding fathers were deists. A deist is not a Christian. A deist simply believes in an intelligent designer. That's it. They don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in all that marriage stuff and all of the adultery and stoning and shellfish, don't eat this, don't eat that, all those rule books. A deist is completely the opposite of a theist in a lot of ways. The only difference is a belief in God, but a deist is what I was at one point in my life after I left Christianity, because I didn't really know, I was still clinging on to my religion even after I left Christianity, and that's why I reverted to deism, because I wanted to believe that there was some God up there, but now I've come to the conclusion that a God doesn't exist.
My grandparents tell me that the church used to be the center of the community.
In school, prayer and pledge to the flag was welcomed and appreciated.
No one would dare not to stand, place their hand over their heart, and recite the pledge.
America was once a force for good.
America was once the hope for the world.
And America can still be the hope for the world, although I don't like that phrase, America, hope for the world, because I think we give America too much credit as, you know, America is the greatest nation in the world. No, it's not, but that's just my opinion. My point is that America will not be the hope for the world if we revert back to Christian principles or the Bible, especially the Bible. If we went back to the biblical teachings of the Bible in America, we'd be done for. I could not live a life like that. I would move to Brazil or Europe or someplace where I could be free from Christian beliefs and Christian oppression and Christian forceful religion of declining people equal rights and not giving people the option for abortion and forcing a woman who's been raped to conceive a child by a rapist. I mean, I don't want to live in a world like that. I mean, we already do to an extent because Christianity is still around. But if we want America to be a force for good, if we want America to be the hope for the world, we can't bring religion or organized religion into government. Ever. Ever. That's my opinion.
What happened?
In 1962, the Supreme Court ruled that prayer was unconstitutional in schools.
In 1963, the courts ruled the Bible unconstitutional.
And that is very, very good because the Bible is unconstitutional. It's a 2,000-year-old book with a bazillion things that say, hey, I can turn water into wine. Hey, I can make 2 pieces of bread turn into 5,000 pieces of bread and feed a bagillion people. Hey, I can do all of these things. I can rise from the dead. Hey, I can heal people. Hey, I can heal cancer. Hey, I can cast demons out of a pig. Hey, I can do this. Of course the Bible is unconstitutional. It should be treated as such because it's a book based on imagination. It's a book based upon things which have no accuracy in terms of things that occur which to our eyes and to our observation can't even happen. So yes, the Bible is unconstitutional and should be treated as such.
Saying that if the 10 Commandments were read in school,
A student might feel inclined to follow them.
Really?
for over 50 years, Christians have been unwilling to get involved. People who do not love our God have stolen our country.
Jesus said we are salt and light.
Salt and light melt ice.
It is time for a thaw.
President Ronald Reagan called America a shining light on a hill, a beacon of hope for the world to see.
We are going to let our little American lights shine.
Through the power of Jesus Christ, we proclaim today.
We refuse to be frozen out of the public square.
You know, it's a real shame. That last girl is actually kind of cute, in my opinion. However, I have to ask the question, how did these kids, this young, get this way? How did they get this way? I mean, it's a fairly simple answer, but what shocks me is that I was once in their position. If you had came to me, let's say 5 or 6 years ago, with this video, I probably would have agreed with the whole thing. I'm not joking either. If you've been a subscriber of mine for any amount of time, you would know what I used to be. Religious indoctrination it's sad to me, and it's scary. It's scary that you can bring up a child to believe the things that they've said. I believe that even if a child is growing up in a religious household, I believe that those parents have a responsibility not to force their beliefs or their religion upon their child. But it will be difficult for that child because that child is being brought up in a religious household. So he's going to be exposed to all these religious values and religious beliefs. But it is my hope that as long as the parents don't force that child into their belief systems, that child will grow up and see how much bullshit religion really is. And how much that religion, for the most part, does no good for anything. It reverses good, in fact. Granted, I realize there are charities and religious people who go out and try to help the poor. That's good and dandy. I'm not against that, with the exception of them trying to preach the gospel while doing it. But overall, religion has done nothing to help grow society into a more stable environment in terms of equal rights, gay marriage, treating people equally. Women are looked upon as inferior or lesser because in religion, the Bible is a great example of that. Slavery, stoning of people who broke God's law, thousands, genocide. I mean, the Bible is a very, very harsh, evil book in my opinion. Sure, there may be a few interesting psalms and some things maybe you can apply to your life, but ultimately the Bible is not a book that we should look to or teach our children to grow up reading. Well, I take that back. I think a child should grow up reading the Bible, assuming the parents are not indoctrinating them. Like, if I have a kid, I'm going to show him the Bible, and I'm going to teach him that the Bible is a book of fairy tales. The Bible is a book of nonsense. This book brings a lot of the problems that we have in our world today. A lot of the injustice that we have, and a lot of the crazy, radical, religious people who believe in stoning people and not giving people equal rights is from the Bible, or religious books in general. Not just the Bible, but I mean all sorts of different religions. And ultimately, seeing a kid indoctrinated by religion is truly a shameful and sad thing in my opinion, and I will do my best to raise my children, assuming I ever have them, which I probably won't. I'll do my best to raise them in an environment where they can see the bullshit of what religion can do and has done. Thank you guys. My name is Mr. Repton, also known as Daniel Sulzbach. Also remember, if you want a free audiobook from audible.com, type in this link right down here, go there and you enter my name and you can get a free audiobook that's around a $10 to $14 value. So thank you guys for watching. My name is Mr. Repzion, also known as Daniel Sulzbach. Peace, the rep out.